For daily ask Reddit. Doctors of Reddit, what is the weirdest thing a patient wouldn't admit? Not a doctor but a nurse. Had a patient come in with a toothpick in his penis. Refused to tell me how it got in there, insisting he was picking his teeth, and it fell in. Being pregnant and also a virgin. People actually believe women can get inseminated in a public pool, or after their parents had sex in the jacuzzi and the girl uses the jacuzzi, and is inseminated by the father. I was once marked as pregnant by mistake when I went into the They were talking about the tests they needed to run, but they couldn't give me medication because of the baby. At that point I said, hold up, there is no way I'm pregnant. The nurse looked at me and rolled her eyes. I told her that I've only ever slept with women in the last couple of years, so there was no way I was pregnant. One of the other nurses reran the pregnancy test, and turns out I wasn't pregnant. I admitted a guy for chest pain. As part of the workup, I did a urine drug screen which came back positive for cocaine. After the rest of his cardiac workup was negative, I said to him, good news, you didn't have a heart attack. It's likely that your chest pain was caused by cocaine. His answer, I didn't use cocaine. See, I was at a party and people had some lines of cocaine out on a table. As I was walking by, an oscillating fan blew the cocaine into my face, which is why my urine was positive. MMMHMM. Got it. Obligatory, not a doctor, I'm a nurse. We had a patient come into the operating room for brain surgery. Probably a mid-50s guy with a nice head of light brown hair. Before a patient comes into the actual, or we ask them a series of questions, including whether they have any implants, jewelry, non-hospital clothes on, etc. Guy says no to all the questions. After the patient gets put to sleep, the surgeon grabbed his hair to start shaving it off, because you know, brain surgery, and all his hair peeled off because he was wearing a wig and didn't tell us. We almost shaved his hairpiece because he wouldn't admit to anyone he wore it. Nurse here. Had parents bring their 3-year-old son to the emergency department for 1 month of abdominal pain that kept getting worse. I ask all the routine questions for this complaint. Lots of questions about his poop. Is it bloody? Diarrhea? Mucus? When was his last bowel movement? Any changes in the stool? They deny any other concerning symptoms but abdominal pain. We do blood work, ultrasound, x-ray. Everything comes back completely normal, but the kid is intermittently screaming in pain, curled in a ball. Over the next 5 hours I continue to repeat the same questions. I asked repeatedly if there was anything else going on that they could think of. Nope. The kid just doesn't seem well, but we have no reason to keep him. We decide to watch him a little longer. Let him eat. The kid eats a bunch, a PBJ, apple juice, crackers, popsicle. No pain, so we decide to send them home. I bring in the discharge paperwork, and I'm about to start going over instructions and their dad goes, you know, for the past 3 months he's had a lot of worms in his poop. Worms ducking worms. You spent 6+ hours denying worms. I literally just turned around and walked out of the room without saying a word. I was laughing almost to the point of tears. Could not wait to tell my resident. Deworming medications, a shitload of wasted time, and they were on their way. I'm a pediatric dentist, so maybe not the type of doctor you were looking for, but this one throws me for a loop every time, so I'll share it. When I sedate kids they have to be NPO for 8 hours before, so I always ask if they had anything to eat or drink in the morning. Parents never want to admit their kid ate or drank, even when I remind them it's very important, because if they vomit and aspirate they could die. Often they try to minimize it and say it was just a few bites, but one kid walked in eating a bag of Cheetos at reception, and then the parent insisted to me that they hadn't eaten. Yeah, I'm 100% not sedating your child today. Obligatory, not a doctor. Used to work PR and marketing in an inner city hospital. Was once hanging out with the folks when a regular came in. He was into self-harm. This would have been in 2000/2001 or so, and I was young, so I had never even heard of this. This guy had spent hours burying a Phillips head screwdriver in his abdomen, carefully working it around major organs. He was a Vietnam medic and had some training, so he could feasibly do it. He straight up said, "What screwdriver? You all are crazy." The attending was staring right at the x-ray and the handle of the screwdriver sticking out of his abdomen. The screwdriver must have been 4 inches long. I still shudder. I once had a patient come in with large calluses on the front of his ankles, which is a very unusual place to get calluses. I brought it up a few times because I thought maybe he was wearing his shoe wear improperly, but he kept waving off the question. Eventually I got him to admit that the calluses are there because he recently started taking a prescription antidepressant medication which made it very difficult for him to achieve orgasm. He found that if he lay on his living room carpet with his legs bent out beneath him in a W fashion and jerked off for several hours, he was able to achieve orgasm.